Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. Today I wanted to have a bit of a rant about Alpha 4.0 and sort of just talk about what we're actually getting with it now. Obviously lots of stuff's changed with it and it's available to play on the EVOCATI and a good amount of people have been testing this out now. So what are we actually getting with 4.0 at its initial release and what's coming later? So the main part of what's coming is, or at least what players will notice, is Pyro as a star system. So it's going to be connected to Stanton via a jump point. Stanton, Pyro, Pyro, Stanton, all connected to each other via this jump point that will have gameplay to it, that jump point. So you sort of queue up, contact air traffic control when you're at one side of it, and they'll put you in a group, and you'll move across and go through the jump point, and you will have to try and stay within the tunnel. There are sort of obstructions there. If you hit the side for too long, or if you hit the obstructions, too many of them, you will be catapulted out of the sort of wormhole there. And that's not great, because you'll be on the edge of the star system. And yeah, there's a load of cool gameplay there. CIG is still tweaking all of this and trying to make it fair and interesting. And it looks great, and super excited for that. But Pyro, huge additional gameplay area when you get there. So this is going to be a lot more in sort of way of high risk, high reward stuff, a lot more PvP orientated or Wild West. And you've got the Pyro planets and moons there. There are 6 planets in Pyro, and it's a much larger star system than what we have with Stanton. We've got Pyro 2 as well, which is called Monarchs, which is eventually going to be the home of the sandworms on one of the planets of Pyro. It's going to be the home of the sort of terrifying Lovecraftian crabs and their mother. Probably not for 4.0, admittedly for those sort of creatures and that sort of stuff. Creatures-wise, you're going to be getting the space cow, the quasi-grazer, which will appear, yeah, on some farms in Pyro, but it's going to be sort of like, you find them on Microtech, you'll find them on Hurston as well, and there's loads of different variants of them, really quite interesting creatures. They're going to be expanding those out more in the future as well, but as part of Pyro you're going to be getting loads more different types of sort of settlements and like little shops and farms and salvage yards, things like that, and loads of missions tied to those, including sort of, there's factional warfare going on here as well, and you might have to sabotage some people's sort of scrap yards or sort of homesteads and things like that. So some really cool stuff going on there, and yeah, just tons of new missions associated with that as well. And they talk about in the sort of roadmap for this, there's going to be sort of fixing turbines and solar panels and stuff like that, and using that sort of gameplay. And some of this is supposed to be tied to engineering and charge and drain, which is not in 4.0 initial launch anymore, so we'll have to see what exact missions we'll get in the future. But yeah, some cool stuff there for sure. You're going to have some new sort of interesting biomes and that sort of stuff as well around Pyro. There's just a lot going on. Huge, massive space stations as well. And these are going to contain, these space stations, contested zones. So contested zones are basically extraction shooter, interesting MMO dungeon type content, which you'll be able to go to these space stations, you'll be able to enter these contested zones and sort of delve into them and do puzzles, fight through enemies, print out security keys, find fuses, find ways of opening doors to more loot and get really good loot, and then extract via an elevator to take you to sort of like a safer area. Yeah, playing this in 4.0 on EVOCATI, very cool. Not a huge amount of content is there with 4.0 on EVOCATI at the moment. A lot of it's sort of not working correctly or only partially working, so sort of bear that in mind. But contested zones are very exciting for a lot of people. They are going to be relatively PvP orientated as well, or at least that can happen there. But go in with the group. Hopefully there's not too much ratting. sort of hiding, and the sort of metal will just be hiding by an elevator, waiting for someone to come near that and killing them, taking all the loot and running off. That'll sort of be annoying, but we'll have to sort of see what happens. Another thing that I'm looking forward to is asteroid bases. So these will appear in asteroid fields, sort of space stations and asteroids clamped together, and there's going to be missions tied to those. There's going to be exploration tied to them. They're going to have some interesting and unique gear and commodities and missions associated with them as well. So yeah, some pretty cool stuff there. One of the sort of more major things that's also happening as part of that, but it's more back-end major, is server meshing. And this has sort of been the silver bullet that CIG have talked about for a long time, enabling actually to start look at MMO size in their game. So literally looking at populations and going, we can stitch multiple servers together. We can have different servers taking looking at different areas of a star system, have all those servers stitched together on a single shard, and then have what would typically be 100 players per server actually convert to 1200 players in a single shard playing together, and they'll scale that up for dynamic server meshing in the future. And kind of tied to that is a mission system refactor, which sort of like allows CIG to make missions better and deploy missions, edit missions, make variants of missions with server meshing in mind, just more quickly and more easily. Trying to think if there's any hidden features for 4.0 at the moment. I mean, there's going to be a load of extra stuff that sort of turns up, including new ships and that sort of stuff, for sure. There's going to be a load more missions just generally deployed in that star system. There might be some extra stuff for 4.0 in Stanton as well, so sort of bear that in mind. We are going to be getting a 4.0.x patch as well as part of the 4.0 cycle, at least that appears to be the plan, which will have a load of the stuff that was pushed back from the initial release. So things like engineering, which is probably the biggest thing, so that multi-crew gameplay, the physicalization of components, the tying in of these new MFDs, and that physical component system, and all of those components and sort of powering them, and the damage for them and the repair of them. Really cool stuff, having all those components sort of come to life, and have engineers running around your ship, but also life support's part of that as well. So there will be oxygen produced and atmosphere produced for your ships, and you can vent that, and there will be fires, and there will be fire extinguishers, and all these systems come together for really interesting damage control gameplay, along with charge and drain, which allows you to sort of power up an object that is otherwise disabled or disconnected from the power, that sort of jazz. You're going to have solar bursts as well in the Pyro system. Again, not with the initial 4.0, but with 4.0.x, and they'll go bam. These are dangerous solar bursts, which you need to protect yourself from, get inside or whatever, make sure you're not in the direct line of sight to the star, basically. But yeah, that's the sort of main stuff that we're getting with 4.0 and that 4.0 cycle. There is going to be some master mode and balance updates as well, expect that. As I said, there will probably be some new ships turning up and vehicles. You could start to see some of that stuff that they talked about at CitizenCon turn up as well. That's what I'm hoping for. It's not a definite by any means, but it is quite possible that we'll see some extra features or whatever turn up in 4.0, especially now that some have been pushed back a bit. And it does appear that those features like engineering that push back are not going to be pushed back for very long. That is still part of the 4.0 cycle as far as I'm aware. It also looks like that 4.0 is still going to be released by the end of the year to live, especially now when they've stripped out a load of those features. But I'm really interested to know what you think. Are you excited for 4.0 still? Are you disappointed because it hasn't got enough stuff? You're like, oh, that's fine, as long as they are going to be releasing 4.0.x patch in the not too distant future with the rest of that stuff in. Do you think that actually none of this stuff matters until they get towards not alpha but 1.0 that they now started talking about, and we'll delve a lot more into 1.0 in the coming weeks as well. But yeah, we'll be looking at some of those features in a bit more detail that we discussed, as they are kind of playable in 4.0 on the EVOCATI at the moment, but I am waiting for some of them to be a bit more refined rather than sort of try and slog through them. Expect wider PTU in the coming weeks, and yeah, as I said, a live build for 4.0 by the end of the year. But what do you think? Are you excited for the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo as well, coming on the 22nd of November? Loads of ships and vehicles and stuff on sale, and maybe the Safe Stanton event, that sort of stuff. Are you excited for 4.0, excited for 1.0? Whatever your thoughts, tell me in the comments below. And apologies for any of the weird audio you might experience. I'm on holiday at the moment and just talking out of a little tiny cubicle.
Welcome to the Intergalactic Nord Expo, where there's only one vehicle here, the vehicle for better internet security, accessibility, and privacy. I wish I could watch Netflix in Japan or Pyro or whatever. Boom! I can, and I'm so protected. It's not a concept. You can fly with nordvpn.com/BoredGamer today. And with NordVPN, you don't need any variants, but it is pay to win because you need to buy it or get a subscription and then you win. Use the links below to get massive discount. November is all about the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo. We've partnered with the Star Citizen organisation Lunar Wolves for a massive giveaway. Commenting on any of my videos during the month gets you a chance to win one of 4 ships: a Zeus MR, an Ares Ion, a Drake Corsair, and even a Cutlass Black. All courtesy of those beautiful Lunar Wolves. But wait, there's more. Sign up to the Lunar Wolves recruitment page, link down below, for a chance to win an RSI Polaris with lifetime insurance. They're recruiting, you might be looking for an org. I'll chuck some further information and terms and conditions and stuff in the video description as well. Don't forget to click on the join button under my videos. That goes a long way to help support the channel. Thank you so much to you that have already done that. Zin and I play a load of games after work and stuff, and we want to chuck those up for people that have gone the extra mile to support us either on Patreon or via that join button. Just remember to like and subscribe as well. Comment, ask us some stuff. Thank you so much for everyone that supported the channel, whether it be for a day or for the last several years, a decade. Oh my God, we've been doing this for so long. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great November and Intergalactic Aerospace Expo.